Hey guys, welcome back to Rag HQ. In this video, I'm going to go over sequencing using the Melony build of Rapid Strike Urshifu. Now, sequencing is a very important part of the Pokemon trading card game, and I'm only using the Melony build not only because it's already featured on my channel, but if you've seen that video, you already know what the card list is, so it makes it very easy to explain why I'm playing the cards in a particular order that I am doing. But if you're using sequencing in general, I break it up into 3 steps to make it as easy as possible. Step 1, know your game plan for this turn. It doesn't necessarily have to be for the entire game. It could just be as simple as what you want to do this turn. And now that you understand what you want to do this turn, you want to move on to step 2. Step 2 is using the least committal cards first to scope out your deck and your prize cards. Depending on what you have in your deck and your prize cards, it could change step 1 or it could make it either easier or more difficult. It really depends on the prizes at this point. So then, if you can get to your step 1, then you want to move on to step 3, which is figuring out all of your outs and figuring out if it means drawing first and then searching, or searching and then drawing. Now, different decks and different scenarios require you to flip-flop between these two. So in this particular video, I'm going to go over just one example. I'm actually going to go over 2 examples, but one of them is going to require drawing, then searching. Enjoy the video. Alright, for this example, we're going to pretend that we're in game 2, and we're going second against Single Strike. So we're going to start off with a very bare bones hand, not anything too complicated. As you can see, we have the Shady Dealings, the Quick Shooter, Double Quick Ball, Bear, a Solid and Water. So since we know this is game 2 and they're going first, they're not going to be able to one-hit KO this Sobble. So I recommend starting with a Sobble, putting on your 6 prizes. You flip over, and then we're going to pretend that they get to their ideal board state, which is 3 to 4 Houndours, an Umbreon, and then if they don't have an extra Houndour down, so meaning 3 Houndours, then they would have a Bear and 1 open spot for a Crobat play. So I did stack the deck to put a Quick Shooter on top, so that way we don't have to have this overly complicated example. I just want to go over a bare bones going second sequencing idea. So obviously we want this to be on the bench, but we know that they have an Umbreon V, and we don't want to immediately lose to an Umbreon V Max's ability to boss this up. So ideally we want to get 2 of these in our board. So to make sure that we can get to our ideal board state, we want to use the least committal card possible. So in this case, we're going to use Quick Ball, and I recommend discarding one of these 3 depending on how you feel. I personally would rather discard 1 Quick Shooter because I like the idea of having 1 Quick Shooter and 1 Shady Dealings to make sure that I have options. So in this case, it doesn't really matter, it's just 1 turn. But I'm going to discard the Quick Shooter. We're going to look through the deck, and we're going to eventually discover that we're going to be missing a Sight, a Passimian, a Sobble, a Medicham, a Marnie, and Escape Rope. I decided to stack the prize cards like this to show that, once again, we're not doing an overcomplicated example. It's just bare bones what could be prized. So since we know these 3 are missing, we know that we have a Crobat V. So we should really keep this Quick Ball for the next turn. So I recommend getting either a Remoraid, a Sobble, or a Bear. It really doesn't matter in this case. We'll just grab the Remoraid just because we can. So then we're going to attach one water to the Keep Calling, bench the Remoraid, bench a Bear, and then activate Keep Calling to search our deck for up to 3 basics that are Rapid Strike Pokemon. I personally recommend only 2, because on the off chance that they choose to not KO, maybe also got to the second Urshifu V, which means if they do turn to Umbreon, boss up one of these bears, and KO it, we still have a Urshifu to work with. And that's it for this example. Alright, for this particular example, we're going to pretend that one Sobble was knocked out last turn. We have a water in the discard pile. Our board is Sobble, Urshifu, Remoraid. Our hand is Quick Ball, and I chose one blank card that we cannot use for our new turn. And to make it even easier, we're going to pretend to know that our our Telescopic Sight, Passimian, Sobble, Metacham V, Marnie, and Escape Rope are all prized, which means that we have access to a Crobat. Now we're going to make this a little bit more complicated. I chose to stack the deck with a card that we can use immediately, which is Evolution Incense. So a lot of people might consider using Evolution Incense immediately for a Drizzle, which could search for either the Raihan or the Melony. And sure, that'll get you some of the way there, but you want to think you need a very specific combination of cards. So either you want a Raihan to get the Rapid Flow going, a way to switch in, or you need a Melony, the Energy, the Evolution, and a way to switch in. Either way, you want as many cards as possible for this, because since we're thinking about it as a combination of cards we want, if you shotgun the Evolution Incense right now, you're going to lessen the chance of getting to that combination. I'm not saying you won't be able to every single time, but it's important in decks like these where sequencing does matter. You want to optimize your chances as much as possible, because this is a type of deck where if you don't get any meaningful damage, then you're essentially set behind a turn. So in this case, I think you should Quick Ball away an Inteleon, because we know we have a Crobat. So then we're going to search our deck for one Crobat V. And now we're going to hold the Evolution Incense. Now, I did make the example of using Evolution Incense for specifically a Drizzle, but let's say that we get to a Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX, we get the Tower, and we get a Water. Well, then, assuming the rest of our cards are blanks, we won't have a way to get to the Rapid Strike Energy. And vice versa, if we get the Rapid Strike Energy, we get the Bear, we get to the Tower, and the rest of our cards are blank, and we already used this for an Octillery, then the only way to switch out, well, actually there wouldn't be a way to switch out, because we'd use up most of our Rapid Strike cards that are available. So in that case, we'd want to hold it for the Drizzle. So this card is a very flexible card that we want to conserve as much as possible. So we want to dig even further with Crobat draw until we have 6. So this is shuffled as you've seen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now that we have this type of hand, we know that these cards, these 5 cards, are the ways to get us to our particular rapid strike, or excuse me, our rapid flow attack. So what we could do is use Drizzle to get to the, or excuse me, we could use the Evolution Incense to get to the Octillery, so that way if we choose to draw, we don't accidentally draw into the Octillery. We could use Melony to accelerate draw 3 and see what else we need. There are a few ways of going about this, but the important thing to know is that if we do evolve into Drizzle, then our Tower of Waters would not be able to let us to retreat freely. We would need a rope, and as we saw in this example, we do not have rope. So to navigate through this, I would probably Evolution Incense for the Octillery. I don't think researching would be correct in this situation, because we want to keep our options open to either Raihan or Melony. And if we choose to research, then the best thing we could possibly do is a Gale Thrust. And the purpose of this turn is to get to the rapid flow. So we're going to search for 1 Octillery. Just showing that I am shuffling the deck to make it as random as I possibly can. Trying to make this as authentic as I can as an example. So now the hand is Drizzle, Incense, Melony, Research, Urshifu V, and Octillery. So now you have options. You could go immediately for the Raihan play. You could evolve into Octillery, search for the Tower of Waters, so that way you can retreat freely. Actually, I'll just run it through you. So this is where we're going to branch off. You can Octillery, and then Rapid Strike Search. For the Tower of Water. We're going to play the Tower of Water, so now we can retreat. We're going to do that right now. So that way, when we evolve into Drizzle, we don't have to worry about not being able to retreat. We're going to choose to activate the Drizzle. Get to the Raihan once I find it. Now you can play the Raihan, attach the water, and search specifically for the energy, because we do have the Evolution Incense. Or not the... Yeah. Excuse me. We do look for the energy. I was thinking backwards. We're going to add this to hand. So now we're going to play Evolution Incense to look for the VMAX. You're now going to evolve, attach, and there you go. You made it to the rapid flow. That's personally how I would navigate through this. You didn't have to go the Raihan play. You could have kept searching and drawing with Melony and such. But I figured since we do have the Raihan in this deck, that is just the easiest way to go about it, and to really highlight how to sequence properly. Now that's searching and drawing. that doesn't have to be specifically in this deck. A lot of different decks require you to search and then draw, or draw then search. You just really have to feel out your deck. But for this particular example, it is much better to Crobat and then search. I hope you found that helpful. And that's it for the video. Thanks for sticking around to the end if you did. I hope this was informative. Please let me know if you think I could have done anything differently, if you want me to go over sequencing with different decks, different scenarios in this deck, etc., etc. Again, I wanted to make this video because when I was learning the card game, and while I still am learning the card game, sequencing was a concept that I've never heard of, and when I attempted to tackle it head on, it took me a very long time. So I hope this was a very easy way of understanding. Have a great day.